What's up, guys? My name is Victor, and every Friday I like to do a question and answer session where I answer many of the comments that I get on my YouTube channel. And all these questions have to do with navigating the awakening process, essentially, and all the different things that come along with it. So today we have a few things we're going to go over. I'm going to tell you guys what is fourth density, what is it actually. If you hear this word fourth density, the fifth dimension, the new earth, what is it? We'll go over the meaning of the numeric synchronicities. You guys see someone asked me about that this week as well. What do the numbers mean themselves? Do certain numbers carry certain meanings? What are my thoughts on DMT and other hallucinogenic substances for, acting like a spiritual aid and actual using it in a productive way? Will it help you? So what is fourth density? Fourth density is basically a higher dimensional plane of existence that overlaps this existence, essentially. And it's a place, it's a plane of existence that you can go to and live your life there. But the confusing thing is, it's all right here. It's just a different dimension in the now, essentially. And what we're going through on this planet is more and more and more of the potential to exist in fourth density is becoming grounded upon the planet. And right now, there's some of us we're all going there, or many of us are going there as we speak. Many of us are like kind of there in a way. It's not a place you just go to. We're raising our vibration to match it. It's not something that is just going to kind of happen for you. You are going to choose to let go of all the different density baggage you're carrying around, and then you will be able to lift yourself up there, basically. And you'll get to experience life very differently, much more germane to the fourth density way of going about life. And I'll talk about what it's actually like, some of the characteristics of fourth density, another time. I just kind of wanted to explain to you guys fundamentally what it is. It's a higher dimensional plane of existence that you have the potential right here and now to access to whatever degree you are at on your journey. And as your higher self guides you through this awakening process, you're integrating more and more and more and more and more of it. And in a time that it will be kind of all there is. There will not. Right now we're kind of in between. We're in between densities. We're in third density and fourth density. And it really just depends on your moment. We are oscillating back and forth quite drastically. And you could tell this by moments where you feel awful and you don't feel good, you're worried or you're afraid. Any of these darker earthly emotions are more characteristic of the third density reality. But at the same time, when you feel in the flow, when you get synchronicity, what is synchronicity? These fucking random things just pop into your life. That's not really a third density way of living. That's like divine timing, and you're experiencing it. Messages from your higher self, all the different really interesting symptoms and experiences you can have on your road there. This is all fourth density stuff, guys. Talking to your guides, a lot of cool stuff. So can one use DMT or psychedelic mushrooms or LSD or MDMA? Any of those substances, are those actually helpful on the spiritual journey? In my opinion, yes. I've used many of them. I've experienced with a lot of them. In fact, when I was younger, I used to grow psychedelic mushrooms when I was a lot younger. I was just out of high school, about 21 years old, and I just looked it up online and learned how to grow them. And even then, I was kind of on a spiritual path, and I would use them with the intent of exploring my consciousness, and it just made it a lot easier. I can meditate for 2 hours or take a half a gram or a gram of magic mushrooms and fucking blast off 1,000 light years further than I was able to access naturally. However, you just have to be honest with yourself. Because it makes it so easy to access these higher states of consciousness, there is the temptation to become to rely on it and kind of get lazy on your journey. The idea is that we're getting to where we're going to be able to do that naturally, anytime. Someone asked me specifically about a DMT experience I had, so I figured I'd tell you my little experience. I've taken it twice. One time I blasted off quite nicely, you could say. And I experienced, like many people, beings came into my vision, my field. They were beings, and even though they were quite weird looking, almost tough to describe, they were almost in motion. These beings, you could say, I felt like they knew me, and they were clearing my energy, and I started going into this like really intense like yogic breathing, which I never do naturally. It just started like happening, and I could just feel my energy like moving around, and they were working on me. And it was like this female like motherly like figure, and also this like young child who I could tell was just there like, hey, what's this dude? You know, almost like I popped into their world. I'm like, oh, it's you. Let's fucking fix you up for the 30 seconds you're here. And then, you know, when I came out of it, I felt very clear. I felt very unloaded of like some of my denser energies. I just felt really good, and it was a very positive experience. Okay, I also got asked about the numbers. I know a lot of you guys, probably almost everyone here watching this, is seeing numeric synchronicities, oftentimes on the clock. The more popular one that, at least for me, was the first one I started to see all the time was 1111. That's why I put that in the beginning and end of my videos. It kind of, I want to like call out to people going through this process. And there are meanings to all the different number combinations. I see all sorts of numbers. For me, like seeing like cool, rare numeric patterns. Like oftentimes I'll see like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on a license plate. Like what are the fucking odds of that? And I see those like those rare combinations like hundreds of times per day now, all the time. And it's just to show me, for me, it's to indicate to me just how magical life is and how this all really is a projection. And the more you open yourself to the belief that synchronicity and divine, a divine way of fourth density, a way of going through life is actually possible. Once you can actually believe it, as you climb up the belief levels, you could say, it just happens more and more and more and more in your daily life. And to me, it's quite normal now to experience maybe thousands of synchronicities within the same day. Whereas when I was first waking up, I might see 1111 twice that day and be like, oh fuck, I saw 1111 twice. What does this mean? Now it's normal. However, with that said, there's a lot of like people who are like experts in numerology, and they study the actual meanings of numbers, and there are meanings of the numbers. 1111 is kind of a symbol, symbolizes enlightenment, spiritual awakening, which is probably not too much of a surprise for you guys. But it depends on you. What do the numbers represent to you? Do they just simply represent like a sign from your higher self or higher guidance? And that's all it means for you. You don't have to really go out of your way to research all the names, all the different meanings of the numbers, unless you really want to. If you want to, and as you do, if it comes from your natural excitement and not out of like a feeling of, I need to know what this means, that's like an anxiety. That's not going to help you. But if you just genuinely are interested in researching the meanings of these numbers, then that will add a depth to your numeric synchronicities for yourself. But it all doesn't matter. Your higher self will use anything to direct you where it wants you to go. And if you know the really intricate depths of what these numbers mean, you'll probably be one to see a lot of numbers, and that'll kind of help you steer your guidance. You know what I do? I listen to Pandora Radio. Because it's random. I'll put on fucking Pandora Radio, and I will literally have my higher self basically tell me a story. It'll kind of like, whenever I need advice or guidance, I get it through listening to Pandora Radio, and I'm able to discern what is something coming through, what is like a phrase or a song that's important and relevant to me, and what is just a passing song. But that's what works for me. Is Pandora Radio a sacred radio? No. Neither are these fucking numbers. They're just symbols. It's all symbols. All of your external world are merely devoid of meaning symbols. And you're the one who colors them with meaning.